Something important has been happening inside the Catholic Church, and after taking a few days away from making videos, I knew I could not come back with an ordinary update. So first, let me say this to everyone who has been waiting for another video. Thank you for staying here. I know it has been around 3 or 4 days since I uploaded a proper video for you, and I really appreciate everyone who continued to support the channel. I had to take a short break, but I am back now, and from here on, I will be bringing you regular updates again on Pope Leo XIV, the Vatican, the Catholic Church, Christianity, and the major developments that matter to believers around the world. And today, there is actually a lot to talk about. Pope Leo XIV has continued to make his voice heard on some of the biggest issues facing the Church and the world. His recent activities have touched on faith, young people, peace, human dignity, migration, poverty, technology, artificial intelligence, and the mission of the Church in a rapidly changing world. And what makes this especially interesting is that Pope Leo is not simply speaking about what is happening inside the Vatican. His message continues to reach far beyond Rome. So in this video, we are going to look at what has been happening recently, what Pope Leo has been emphasizing, what is coming next on his Vatican schedule, and what these developments could mean for the direction of the Catholic Church. Let's begin with something very important. One of the clearest themes in Pope Leo's recent ministry has been his focus on the human person. Earlier this year, he released his first major encyclical, Magnificat Humanitas, a document centered on protecting human dignity in the age of artificial intelligence. The message is significant because Pope Leo is approaching AI not simply as a technological issue, but as a human and moral question. His argument is that technology should serve humanity rather than allow power, wealth, algorithms, or technological systems to control humanity. The Vatican presented the document as part of the Church's continuing social teaching, connecting the technological revolution of our time with the industrial transformation faced by Pope Leo XIV more than a century ago. And Pope Leo XIV has used particularly strong language about artificial intelligence. He has argued that AI must be disarmed from systems of domination, exclusion, and war. That does not mean rejecting technology. Instead, the Pope is calling for humanity to remain in control of technology and to make sure that technological progress does not come at the expense of human dignity, freedom, work, truth, or the common good. And this message becomes even more important when we consider how quickly artificial intelligence is changing everyday life. AI is already affecting education, employment, communication, media, business, and even the way people receive information about religion. That is why Pope Leo's warning is not limited to Catholics. It is a conversation that affects almost everyone. And there is another important part of his message. The Pope has repeatedly emphasized that the Church cannot simply hide from the modern world. Instead, Christians have to enter these difficult conversations while keeping the dignity of the human person at the center. That idea has become one of the defining themes of his early pontificate. But AI is only one part of the bigger picture. Because in recent weeks, Pope Leo XIV has also been putting a strong emphasis on young people, faith, and the future of Christianity. And that brings us to one of his most important recent encounters. On August 6th, Pope Leo XIV traveled to Assisi, one of the most important spiritual places in Catholic Christianity. The visit was connected with the GO, Franciscan Youth Meeting 2026, bringing together young people from across Europe, including believers and non-believers between the ages of 18 and 33. The symbolism of Assisi is extremely powerful. This is the city associated with Saint Francis, a figure remembered throughout Christianity for humility, simplicity, service, and care for the poor. And 2026 is also marking the 800th anniversary of the death of Saint Francis. During his visit, Pope Leo met young people, answered their questions, met representatives of the Franciscan orders, and celebrated Mass at the Basilica of St. Mary of the Angels. But there was something deeper behind this visit. Pope Leo has been consistently encouraging young people not to settle for a meaningless or mediocre life. His message is that Christianity cannot simply survive by looking backward. The Church needs young people who are willing to live their faith, serve others, speak about Christ, and bring hope into a world where many people feel isolated and uncertain. That same message appeared in his video message to young people in Ecuador. Pope Leo encouraged them to listen to God's call, follow Christ with determination, and allow their encounter with Jesus to transform their lives. He also reminded them that the Church needs their joy, courage, and witness. That is an important message because the future of Christianity is not only about buildings, institutions, or traditions. It is also about whether the next generation feels that faith has something meaningful to say about their lives. And Pope Leo appears determined to make that conversation part of his ministry. We can see the same approach in his message to young people in Peru. During Peru's National Youth Day, Pope Leo encouraged young Catholics not to keep their faith as something private or limited to photographs, videos, or social media posts. Instead, he called them to become witnesses through the way they live. In other words, faith is supposed to move beyond the screen and into real life. That is a powerful message in an age where Christianity itself is increasingly discussed through digital platforms. And it connects directly with another major theme of Pope Leo's pontificate: evangelization. For August, Pope Leo's prayer intention has focused on evangelization in the city. His message recognizes that modern cities can offer freedom and opportunity, but they can also become places of loneliness, anonymity, and isolation. The Pope is asking Christians to remember the people living inside those cities who may be surrounded by millions of people but still feel completely alone. His vision is that cities should become places where the gospel can be encountered through real human relationships, compassion, service, and Christian witness. And that tells us something important about the direction of the Church. Pope Leo is not presenting evangelization as simply standing on a street corner and telling people what to believe. He is emphasizing presence, being with people, listening to people, serving people, and showing the love of Christ through actions. That theme was also visible during his recent Angelus reflections. At the beginning of August, Pope Leo reflected on the gospel story of Jesus feeding the multitude with 5 loaves and 2 fish. He used that story to speak about hunger, greed, charity, and the spiritual needs of humanity. The Pope warned that greed and excessive accumulation can make people forget those who are suffering. He connected the miracle of the loaves with the Eucharist and encouraged Christians to allow their faith to become visible through everyday acts of charity. So when we put all these messages together, we start seeing a pattern: technology, young people, evangelization, charity, human dignity, the Eucharist, and service. These may look like separate subjects, but Pope Leo is connecting them around one central idea: the human person must never be forgotten. And that leads us to another major part of his recent public message: peace. Pope Leo XIV has repeatedly used his public appearances to speak about conflicts, suffering, migration, and people caught in humanitarian crises. During his Angelus on August 2nd, he expressed concern about the situation in Ceuta and prayed for peace, stability, and justice. He also called attention to people suffering because of migration and instability, asking God to comfort those who suffer and bless those working to help them. This is consistent with a broader pattern we have seen during Pope Leo's pontificate. The Vatican, under his leadership, continues to present the Catholic Church not simply as a religious institution, but as a voice for peace, human dignity, and solidarity with vulnerable people. And that brings us back to his first encyclical. Magnificat Humanitas does not only talk about AI. It connects technology with economics, work, freedom, education, social justice, peace, and the common good. Pope Leo argues that technological development cannot be judged only by efficiency or profit. The deeper question is whether it helps human beings flourish. That is especially important when AI begins influencing decisions about employment, education, healthcare, security, information, and even warfare. The Pope has warned against allowing technological power to become concentrated in the hands of only a few. He has also called for accountability, independent oversight, education, and appropriate legal frameworks. In simple words, his message is this: Just because humanity can build, something does not automatically mean humanity should allow that technology to control the future. And that is one reason Magnifica Humanitas may become an important part of understanding Pope Leo XIV's pontificate. It shows us how he wants the Church to respond to one of the biggest transformations of our generation. But there is another important development we should not ignore. Pope Leo has also been strengthening his relationship with different parts of the global Catholic Church. In July, he sent messages to the Church in Asia, connected with the Federation of Asian Bishops conferences. His message encouraged the Church in Asia to build communion and place God on the horizon of its actions while keeping the human person at the center of decisions. He also highlighted the poor, migrants, sick, and vulnerable as people who should not be pushed aside. The message reflects a broader vision of Christianity, in which the Church is called to build bridges rather than divisions. And this is especially significant because Catholic Christianity is truly global. The Church is not only Europe. It is not only Rome. It is not only North America. There are millions of Catholics across Asia, Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, and every other region of the world. Pope Leo's background also gives particular meaning to his attention toward different cultures. Before becoming Pope, Robert Francis Prevost spent many years connected with the Church in Peru. That missionary experience continues to appear in the way he speaks about communities, poverty, rebuilding, and human dignity. His first encyclical even draws on lessons from his missionary experience in Peru, emphasizing that rebuilding a society is not only about repairing physical structures. It is also about repairing relationships, rebuilding trust, and restoring hope. And perhaps that is one of the most important messages of Pope Leo's early pontificate. The Church is living in a world where people are deeply divided. Politics divides families. Social media divides communities. Wars divide nations. Technology can connect people, but it can also isolate them. And even within Christianity, there are disagreements about tradition, worship, authority, and the future direction of the Church. Pope Leo's response appears to be centered on communion, not pretending that differences do not exist, but finding ways to remain connected while seeking truth. That is a difficult task for any pope, and the coming months will tell us how successfully Pope Leo can turn these themes into long-term action. Because his pontificate is still relatively young, he is not simply managing an established institution. He is beginning to define what his papacy will ultimately be remembered for. And there are already some important clues. His concern for human dignity, his focus on young people, his emphasis on peace, his attention to AI, his call for evangelization, and his repeated message that Christians must serve people rather than simply speak about faith. Now there is also something important coming very soon. As we look ahead, Pope Leo XIV's Vatican schedule gives us another reason to keep watching closely. The official Vatican calendar lists a general audience for August 19th, and just a few days later, on August 22nd, Pope Leo is scheduled for a pastoral visit to Rimini, where he will participate in the meeting for friendship among peoples and celebrate Mass at the city's port. The Vatican has also scheduled a pastoral visit to San Marino on the same date. Later in August, another Mass and procession are scheduled at Castel Gandolfo. These events may look like normal items on a papal calendar, but they give us an important picture of Pope Leo's style of leadership. He is not spending his entire ministry behind the walls of the Vatican. He is continuing to travel, meet communities, speak with young people, celebrate Mass, and bring the papal ministry directly to people. And that matters because Catholic Christianity is ultimately lived at the local level. It is lived in parishes. It is lived in families. It is lived by priests, religious communities, young people, elderly people, missionaries, volunteers, and ordinary Christians trying to follow the gospel. The Pope can speak from Rome, but the future of the Church will also depend on what happens in those communities. And perhaps this is why Pope Leo's repeated emphasis on witness is so important. He is asking Christians not simply to say that they believe in Christ. He is asking them to show that belief through their lives, through forgiveness, through charity, through service, through peace, through helping people who are suffering, through standing with people who feel forgotten, and through refusing to allow technology, money, politics, or social pressure to become more important than the dignity of the human person. This also explains why his message about artificial intelligence is so relevant. The Church is not saying that technology is automatically evil. In fact, Pope Leo's message is much more complicated. Technology can be used for tremendous good. AI can help people learn. It can assist researchers. It can support medicine. It can help people communicate. It can make information more accessible. But the question is who controls it, how it is designed, what values are built into it, and what happens to people who become dependent on it. That is why Magnificat Humanitas is not simply an anti-AI document. It is a call for responsibility. Pope Leo wants humanity to remain human in an age when machines are becoming increasingly capable. And that may eventually become one of the defining questions of his papacy. How does Christianity respond when technology changes what it means to work, communicate, learn, create, and even make decisions? Pope Leo has already given us an answer. The human person must remain at the center. And there is another reason this matters for Christianity. The Church has survived enormous changes throughout history. It has lived through political revolutions, wars, economic transformations, scientific discoveries, cultural changes, and technological revolutions. The challenge has always been to remain faithful to the gospel while responding intelligently to a changing world. Pope Leo XIV now faces another one of those moments, and perhaps that is what makes this pontificate so interesting to watch. We are still early in the story. There will be more decisions, more journeys, more speeches, more conversations, more challenges, and probably moments that will surprise both supporters and critics. But if we look at what Pope Leo has emphasized so far, a clear picture is beginning to emerge. He wants a church that is present in the modern world, a church that speaks about technology without being controlled by technology, a church that reaches young people, a church that remembers the poor, a church that speaks for peace, a church that evangelizes not only through words, but through witness, and above all, a church that keeps the dignity of every human person at the center. So, to everyone who has been waiting for me to return with another video, thank you once again for your patience and support. I took a short break, but I am back. And I want to make sure that from now on we continue bringing you regular videos covering Pope Leo XIV, the Vatican, Christianity, the Catholic Church, and the important stories that are shaping the Christian world. If you found this update useful, make sure you support the video by liking it, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications so you do not miss the next update. And most importantly, I want to hear from you after everything. Pope Leo XIV has been emphasizing from artificial intelligence and human dignity to young people, peace, evangelization, and the future of Christianity. What do you think should be the biggest priority of his pontificate right now? Should the Pope focus more on protecting human dignity in the age of AI? Should he focus more on bringing young people back to Christianity? Should peace and humanitarian issues be his biggest priority? Or do you believe the Catholic Church needs to focus on something completely different? Let me know your opinion in the comments, because this is not just about what happens inside the Vatican. It is about where Christianity is heading next. And I want to know where you think that journey should lead. Thank you for being here, and welcome back to the channel.